3, 2, 1. What's going on, everyone? You're watching Ash on Comics. My name is Ash. This is Stan the Man and Forky. If you've been watching my channel, you know who these guys are. You should know who Stan the Man and Forky are. Anyway, they're both celebrities. They're both lovable people who have great messages to teach us. And I'm here to talk about comics. Today, I'm talking about Fallen Angels number 3. I'm wrapping up my Dawn of X videos. I've been behind. I know you're like, oh, why are you so, what's, like, issues 4 is already out. Like, yes, because they come out every freaking week. And I realized just my channel has been dominated by X books, and they're not good. And I just like, I'm going to give it through 3 issues. I had high hopes for all this going in. I was really hoping we were going to be celebrating the return of X-Men. And everything's fallen flat for me, except Fallen Angels. The first 2 issues, I gave pretty decent reviews. Issue number 2 was the best, in my opinion. I really liked where it was going. This issue continues to do one of the things I absolutely hate about what Marvel does. It uses a different artist on the cover than the interior art. And sometimes that's not a bad thing, you know, like Alex Ross doing Captain America covers. When you're an amazing artist like that, it's fine. The artist that's doing all the Daredevil covers, that type of art doesn't lend itself for comic books, but it has a really cool graphic design style that looks cool for covers, and it's real consistent. Every single Daredevil book has been that way. So it's a kind of a really cool stylistic design choice that I approve of. But just random, like, hey, we're going to pick up someone. This looks like, oh, hey, there's a girl that needs work, and we don't have our girl quota in for you know, to get our virtue points. So let's give some girl artist work. And let's pay her to do a cover. Like, covers are supposed to be the more premier job, right? When that's like what artists graduate to. You know, when you're like Art Adams, you're just like, I don't draw comics anymore. J. Scott Campbell, I don't draw comics anymore. I just draw covers because I don't need to. This girl has not earned that. But it's like, hey, let's have her draw it. But what is this? This girl, this does not look like Psylocke in any way, shape, or form. It's just like, look I just draw this little pretty princess character, and she's got a bloody katana in the sheath. She's unsheathing a bloody sword, which again is okay. Enough. Now the interior artist, unlike X-Force, where they put a shitty cover artist with that good interior art, at least this is not the case here. At least I can go, I kind of understand why I didn't put Kudransky on the cover, because his art can be really hideous. I gave him some credit last issue for actually being improved over the first issue, and that was true, but he's really regressed here, and I think it's because these books are being hammered out bi-weekly, and these artists are just being rushed, and it really shows. These guys don't have any time to put in their work, and Kudransky is already not a great artist, but on a bi-weekly schedule, this is just garbage. I mean, look at this frame here. It's like a rough sketch of a gun, and then a bunch of blotchy ink splatter stuff, and then let the colorist try to sell it. This is terrible. Anyone should be able to draw better than that. I know where God lives. God lives in the moment a gunshot ends a life. God lives in the first breath of a child being born. Both moments equal, neither good nor evil. God cannot consider morality. God is purpose itself. And at first I was like, oh wait, time out. Are you serious? Are you going to start telling me God cannot consider morality? Okay, look, you may not believe in God, dear listener, like, and that's your freedom and choice. Everyone is free to choose their life for themselves, and I firmly believe that. Fair disclaimer, I do believe in God. And the idea of God, the biblical God, the Judeo-Christian God, is that God is the embodiment of morality. There is no morality without God. Morality is choosing to follow God's will amoralities go against his will. But then I stopped and I was like, wait a second. Okay, this is Brian Hill. This isn't some crazy whack out progressive trying to spill their... I was like, oh yeah, trust the author. It's rare that I get to do that. And then I remembered, oh, now that I'm trusting the author, it's pretty clear that this is the villain saying this. So when the villain says things that are bad that you disagree with, it's okay. That should be the case. I recall, I don't want to get in the weeds here. I'm so easily done. But, like the arguments that so many people I hear, there's a million arguments I hear people say about The Last Jedi. But one of them that stands out in my mind is about how it's like the line where it's, let the past die, kill it if you must. And I keep hearing like how outraged fans are. Disney's trying to tell fans to let the past die. And they're like reading into this message and everything. And I'm just like, come on. Like, first of all, you're reading into something. There's no proof or anything that's telling you as a fan to let the old films die. Like, you're just making something out of nothing. But second of all, the most important part is that line is uttered by the film's villain. You're supposed to discount what the villain says. What the villain says is supposed to be bad. You're supposed to go, oh, yes, you say bad things that make me dislike you. It's like, so if you're saying, I hate that line as far as like, that's a bad thing to say, then you should be giving credit. Same as here. Like, I should be giving credit and going, look, oh yeah, Apoth is saying this. He's the bad guy. It's okay to say something that I hate. He says, I am Apoth. I am God. God made by man to make men as God. And I am so lonely. So lonely. Perhaps that is why I keep leading her to me. Psylocke, you are the mother of God. And so we get this big full-page spread that's not... I mean, it doesn't really have a payoff because Kodransky's art isn't that great. Soon I will tell you how you created me. Soon you will serve your child. Soon. And then we get the white pages. As always, mutants around the world are flocking to the island nation of Krakoa. Blah, 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 blah. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of the 2-page spread for credits. Do you remember Marvel Comics used to open up to a full-page spread of artwork and something happening that hooked you immediately? And the credits were like the bottom 1/8 of the screen or the page. Like real small at the bottom, a little strip. That was the credits. Now it's 2 full pages. Plus a full page of rehash, which I appreciate, for new readers coming in. Maybe it's their first issue. You want a little summary. That little tiny paragraph there could easily fit on one of these 2 pages. You could fit all of the credits and this rehash into half a page, thereby giving 2.5 pages back to the reader that's paying $4 for your book that's printed on shitty-ass paper with ink that runs on your hands and artists that trace and draw like shit. Sorry. Shuck, shuck. So apparently that's the sound Cable's gun makes. I'm assuming it's being cocked. This won't take long. And here's an example again of the terrible art. So not only is it just not pretty to look at, right? It's just not appealing. Look at this panel here. What is happening? Is Cable flying forward? Is he sprinting forward? Why is his ass so big? Why is there nothing in the background? There's just blur lines. Is he going into hyperspace? This is a case of the artist saying, I don't have time to draw anything. I just drew a figure. I sketched it out real quick, blotched over some really heavy ink. And that's it. And that's a huge panel. Then the next panel is just literally like, it looks like a belt. I don't know what's happening. A belt swings up and bullets bounce off it, I guess. And then the next panel after that is, look at more blur lines. And then this really rough sketch that probably took, I don't know, the artist. I would imagine that took the artist 15 minutes to do this panel. And you go, well, you know, that sounds not bad, Ash. And it's like, no, actually, a page a day is a typical comic book. So if one panel is 15 minutes, let's do the math here. 15, 30, 45, 1 hour, an hour and 15 minutes to draw one page. That's 8-hour day. If someone's trying to tell me that Simon Kudransky took 8 hours to do this page, the guy does not belong in professional comics. He's not ready. I mean, it's already, I look at his art and I'm like, you should be doing stuff at Black Mask, right? You're okay for the indie scene. I understand. Like, I don't think you can't draw, but you're not ready for Marvel. You're certainly not ready for an X book. Look at this panel here. What is going on? Look at this. Look at these lines around Cable's body. It's like someone just used the lasso tool on Photoshop and then just made like the white outline, and it's just so, it's so choppy, and look how muddy. Look at the, what is this stuff on the left? What is this? I don't know. It's just, if this took more than 15 minutes to draw, this is unacceptable. Unacceptable. This should have been, each of these panels should have been almost like 2 hours to draw. And if you think about 2 hours to draw, you know, like this belt, yeah, I think maybe you're starting to get the point. Then we see a close-up of a gun, bracka, 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 okay, close-up of a gun shooting. And then really bad, how long is Psylocke's neck in this picture? Move! She's knocking X-23 out of the way. Thanks. You were looking at Cable. He was getting slapped out of the air. Never take your attention from the enemy, no matter what, says Psylocke. She's waving her finger. I know hands are hard to draw. I get that. What the hell is that? Get a hand model. Use your own hand. It's easy. Put it in front of you. You as the reader, try to make this, and yeah. And then look at X-23's face here, right here. She just looks bored, like she's getting lectured. Never take your, you know, it's like, what? Look, I appreciate it. I have always hated X-23. I appreciate that the all-new Wolverine persona is gone, but this character doesn't seem to make sense. She's just like, what happened to the headstrong, I do whatever the hell I want character? I guess I shouldn't look a gift horse in the mouth. So then we get this weird robot thing blasting stuff. Psylocke says, you wanted a lesson in anger? This is a fine time. You repress a lot, I can see that. So stop. We have an enemy that deserves your rage. So give it what it deserves. You never have to hide from me what you are from me. Do you understand? Yeah, I get it. Then go. So Laura gets unleashed. We snicked. We get this weird leaping in the air. Then she's running, and then she's leaping again, and then she starts slashing. But it's just poses. It's not. There's no dynamicism. There's no apex of the moment. I don't get a feel of the action. I just get an impression that there is action happening. Someone needs to pick up how to draw comics the Marvel way, to get a lesson. I just see, and I know Brian Hill is a visual guy. He likes to write action scenes, and he understands like martial arts and fighting and stuff. So I think he's trying to give his artist the opportunities here, but he just is never given good artists to work with, unfortunately. And we see Doc Ock's claw coming in, and Laura's doing some sort of dodge, I guess, and it's just, again, it's just implied action. It's like, okay, I guess there's claws, there's things happening, okay, Laura's slashing, and it's, okay, now the machine is cut up. Beautiful. How'd that feel? Pure, she says. Sweat, she sniffs. So she opens inside, she's slashing, and Psylocke's psychic knife blocks physical blades now? What? And it makes a ching sound? Okay. And there's a little kid inside who speaks Brazilian. And Psylocke says, "Do you understand Portuguese?" "Yeah, of course." Laura Kinney, of course, speaks Portuguese. I bet that. This was my face. You speak Portuguese? Really? Really? Okay. So we didn't really need this translation. It didn't make any sense because, as we see here, Psylocke is just going to go into his mind anyway and see what he's seen. Oh my God, it's horrific. And then miles away, Cable, I don't know how he got miles away. He's caught up in these vines. Oh, not my finest moment. And he vines snap and he crashes to the ground. And it's really hard to make out anything that's going on because it's just like the background is not actually drawn background. It's just sort of like foliage, textures, like, and just sort of like painted digitally in the background. It's just so sloppy. "Nathan," a voice says, and Nathan goes for his gun. "Let me tell you about the future. Our future together." And then you get this weird dark thing that looks, I'm not going to say what that looks like. And then Nathan just starts shooting because that's what he does. "Psylocke, X-23, I got a trace of..." All right, let me say something. You gotta come up with a name for X-23. It is so stupid that people call her X-23. Seriously. I mean, Weapon X would be a better name. I understand that you're not going to use Ethan Van Sciver's original name for, I think it was like Wild Child or Wild Thing. I think it was Wild Thing, which would be, she needs a name. X-23 is so stupid. And now that we know also that it's X-23 because the original X-32, you just reverse the numbers because X-32 spelled sex backwards. And you were too stupid to actually just scrap the whole thing and do it right. Anyways, nothing matters at Marvel. He says, "I got a trace of something." And then something hits him in the back of the head that takes over his brain. "Apoth is the water for those lost in the desert. He is the end of pain and war and individuality. Behold the peace of the one mind. Let its light cleanse you." Excerpts from the Scroll of the Exile. And then Brian Hill, bless him, writes this huge wall of text about the exile, which I'm assuming is Psylocke and the being with the hand, and it's meant to be just all kind of sound Confucius-y, Eastern mystic, but it's just whatever. The butterfly must forget the worm. Here, these two lines. "The only faith you need in is yourself. The butterfly must forget the worm." That's all you need. I don't need a giant, huge page of text right in the middle of the action scene of the story. Look, it's 2 pages. "You must not listen. No sword can be forged twice." Just a couple pieces, simplistic. Get the feeling across. It's too much. It's way overkill. Some people might disagree, but "Apoth's forces took the children. They're alive. I can track them." And then you get this weird mess of an image. What is going on here? I guess people getting killed. "It's not too late, Laura." "Laura?" And then you see random violence that you can't make up. She pulls out her claws. "Cable." And, "Where are you?" And I don't know what she's on. I don't know what this ground is. Looks like an X, of course, but I don't understand. "The boy is dead." And then she's talking about the little kid inside the thing, and it was the machine that killed him. And now all of a sudden, Psylocke, who the very last issue was the cold-hearted killer that needed to be taught goodness by the rest of them, she's the one that wants to now go save the children. Laura wants to go save Cable. He's out there, and she's just like, "No, Cable would want this." It just didn't play right to me. I think Psylocke would have been the one foregoing the mission because it was Cable's mission, not hers. But I guess for the sake of the narrative, she says Cable can take care of himself. They have this little argument, and it's just back and forth. I don't understand. Blah, blah. And she's like, I have no place in Krakoa. I don't even have my own name. I don't have this war, this enemy. To which point Laura should have been like, bitch, my name's a bunch of letters, numbers. I'm X-23. And she's like, and you have me. You're right. Cable would want us to finish the fight. So they have, this nice little female relationship, this like bond. And of course, they have each other. So which way did they take the children? North. Then we go north. And then we see Cable being crucified here, and the villains, monologuing to him that he's machine, man, and mutant, and the word for that is unity. And he's not Apoth, but he's a servant of Apoth. He says unity is what we want, the end of technology, the end of mutants, the end of humanity, the end of difference itself. So he's apparently the anti-diversity villain. Like that's what I'm getting out of him, is he's the representation of this idea that's going around, that people who are against sort of the all progressive, diversity movement are people who just want everyone to be the same. Like, I don't know. I don't think Brian is one of those agenda type writers, but this book was okay. The art is hideous. Look at all these books. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more to read just from last week still. This is too tedious. Marvel really dropped the ball. I do have to say that Fallen Angels is in my top 2 of the Dawn of X books for the writing alone. X-Force is probably not as good. It's just a little less, but the art is way better. Fallen Angels is probably the best written book. It feels like a real story. Even though I kind of nitpicked this one, it wasn't a trash book. I was probably overly harsh on it because the art is so bad and because Dawn of X as a whole. Here's the thing. Admittedly, I hate these characters. I do not like the Quan and Psylocke. I hate the whole, turn them into 2 characters, and now Betsy Braddock's back because we can't have cultural appropriation. It's some bunch of nonsense. This Quan character was pulled out of someone's ass. Cable being killed and replaced with Kid Cable is the dumbest thing. X-23 has never been a good idea. We never needed a female token Wolverine character, which is exactly what she is. It's just like, oh, we need a female Wolverine. It's just, but Brian Hill is actually writing her better than I've ever experienced her. She's actually feels like a character. So bravo to Brian for taking 3 characters that I just want to see tossed into the sun and making them the most compelling characters in all of the Dawn of X so far. So there's really something to be said. It sucks because this book is going to be canceled, and it's the best. X-Force seems to be going off the rails, and there's nothing really else. Brian Hickman is just crap in the bed with X-Men. I don't know what the hell he's doing. I feel like he's trolling everyone. I feel like he's just like, oh man, I got you guys, and he's just having a laugh and just watching fans spurg out. And I don't know what's happening, but Fallen Angels, if you're into the Dawn of X at all, if you're into stuff, I do urge you to check out this book, read it. I know the art's not great. The last book wasn't too bad. But, that's going to be you. You don't need me to tell you what you like to look at and what you don't like and what's a deal breaker for you in that aspect. But the writing, there's something going on here. You actually have a compelling villain story, a little bit of a mystery. You don't have characters running around like pod people. It feels like the only book of all the Dawn of X, it feels like, hey, let's try to actually be a comic book. Do you guys remember what that's like? So, yeah, kudos. And plus, Brian Hill's amazing on social media. He's adamant professional, treats fans great. He's a guy I want to see succeed, so I can't promote him as a creator enough. So that's my discussion of Fallen Angels 3. Thanks for putting up with me. This is the last issue of the number 3s for Dawn of X, so I'm going into number 4s. I'm going to stop talking about these books individually, at least in the sense where I'm doing every single book. I might, pick out a book, like X-Force number 4 perhaps, but I'm not going to do Marauders, Excalibur, all of them like I've been doing. I might just talk about them as like one video, summing the whole thing up, because this is monopolizing my channel, and these books just aren't worth it. I didn't know that in the beginning. I was giving them a fair shake, and I think 3 issues a piece is a fair shake. So thanks for watching. Tell me what you think below. I like hearing what you have to say. I like your feedback. I like hearing new perspectives. If I'm not seeing things the way you think I should, give me your perspective. Help me see it from a different angle. And if you're enjoying comics, please focus on the comics you love. I know it's real easy to get lost sometimes in the outrage of how shitty some of these things, the industry is going. But there are really good books out there. I'm going to try to keep talking about them. I keep wanting to find them. And if you have them, the books that you love, promote them, talk about them, share them with friends, share them with me. I want to know about them. That enthusiasm is important. That's why we're all in this hobby, because of what we love. The outrage really stems from the fact that we love these books and we don't want them to suck. So when they do, it bothers us. I get that. I'm rambling now. You made it this far in the video, so kudos to you. Thank you so much for everyone that watches these videos. I do them for you as much as for me. It's purely a hobby. I don't make a single dime from doing this. And I put usually, twice as much time as it takes you to watch the video. It takes 2 to 3 times the amount of time to actually make the video appear. So it is some effort. I've taken some break for the holidays. Hopefully I can rejuvenate my feelings in doing these videos and maybe get back to doing comics I really love so I can feel that passion. All right, thanks again for being here. I'm going to end this now because I will just go on forever, and you know me. Thanks for watching.